What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today I'm going to just be doing a little story time, like nothing too major or anything, just something pretty simple, but about the time that I probably was almost killed in rush hour traffic on the highway trying to go to a basketball game, and literally the worst timing for anything to happen to my car. So at this point, this has been almost a year, if not just over a little bit over a year, something like that, I don't know. It was back in 2019, and I don't know if you guys know this or not. If you follow me over on Twitter, you probably do, because I'm always talking about like basketball and stuff like that, but I'm a really big Miami Heat fan. I have been since I was a kid. And growing up, like one of my biggest idols and role models was Dwayne Wade. And at this time, he was going through like his retirement farewell tour because of how good he was and stuff, all of his career accomplishments that he had. He was getting like a bunch of these like farewell games and stuff going for him, like where even like when he was on the road playing with other teams and stuff, like he was getting a bunch of respect and stuff. It was pretty cool, right? Like a lot of the best players end up getting like Kobe got a farewell tour. LeBron, he'll probably get a pretty big farewell tour as well. So these are like pretty important moments in like the NBA, right? To have these farewell tours going on for these like, you know, really insane players who have impacted the game or made history in such a big way. So obviously being such a huge Dwayne Wade / Miami Heat fan, I really wanted to go to a game on his farewell tour, right? Like I wanted to see that because I thought it would be pretty cool. And the nearest game at that time would have been in Cleveland, Ohio. So Miami was going to be going to Cleveland, right? And it was going to be a few hour drive from where I am right now, and I was willing to make it and everything, so as time got closer to the game, I ended up buying tickets. I bought 2 tickets, so I bought one for me, and I bought one for my friend Chris, because honestly, I feel like it would have been kind of like shitty and weird to just like go on my own, right? Like to just try and experience something that cool by myself, so I wanted my friend to go with me. Jesus Christ, I can't talk today. Anyway, so as time comes closer and everything, I'm getting super stoked and excited for this, man. Like I had never been to a major sporting event like this in my life. I'd been to like a minor league baseball game before, or actually 2 of them, but I mean, like, I just don't think that really compares to like an NBA stadium, which I know sounds pretty weird because I know a lot of you, like, you go to like 8 or 9 NFL games a year or something crazy like that, or your family is like season pass holders to some sporting team. That shit just wasn't going down in my house, man. Like, we weren't going to all these sporting events or concerts or anything crazy like that, so eventually the day finally comes, and, while we get ready to go, I go and pick up Chris, and we're getting ready to go all the way to Cleveland, which is a few hour drive. The game is at like 7 p.m. Eastern time, so we leave at like 4 Eastern just in case, because like obviously we're going to probably want to get something to eat before we go there and stuff like that, and we're not going to want to be late to the stadium or anything. I'm sure parking is probably hell in these kinds of situations. And of course, you have to consider traffic. Like I already knew we were going to have to go through Columbus in rush hour, and I don't know if you guys have ever been to Columbus, Ohio during rush hour. I know like LA and all these other cities get like a lot of craze about how bad the traffic is. Jesus fucking Christ, Columbus sucks. Going through Columbus from anywhere between like 4 p.m. Eastern to like 6:30 is just, oh my, it's rage inducing how bad it is. For the love of God, the people, okay, if any Columbus City officials are watching this, first and foremost, please rebuild the entire infrastructure of the city, please. The city is growing too rapidly for what's going on there right now. I mean, it's nuts. But we go ahead and we set off, and, you know, after a little bit of time, right, like we get into Columbus and the surrounding area, there's a bunch of like smaller cities like Hilliard and all that around there and stuff, and we're getting a little hungry, right? Like we got probably 2 hours or so until we actually are supposed to be there at the game and it starts and stuff like that, so we know we're gonna make it on time. At least we're on schedule to make it on time, so we're like, you want to just stop and get something to eat? And you know, we decide on Chick-fil-A, which pretty decent meal and everything, so you know, it doesn't take too long for us to eat there, right? And anyway, we start setting off again, and there's this little stretch called 270 in Columbus, which is notoriously terrible to be on. So 270 comes off of 70. I know a lot of you probably know what, you know, 70 is. I'm assuming that it's called that in other places too. Like it runs from like Denver all the way to the East Coast. It's a big ass highway. 70 is fine during this time, right? Like there's traffic, but it's not as bad as it is on 270. Now, 270 gets into standstill for God knows how long sometimes, but thankfully this is one of the days where it's not fully standstill, but all the traffic is going like 15 miles under the speed limit and everyone is like elbow to asshole in traffic here. So we get on 270 and everything is fine up until this point. Like, it's been a great trip and everything. I've enjoyed my time so far. And like I said, there is so much traffic around us, but we're still moving at a decent pace, right? Like, it's one of the only times I've ever been on 270 in rush hour and it hasn't been standstill or going 7 miles an hour. It's terrible, but we're kind of snail pacing our way through all this. And then I remember it so vividly. Like, there's this weird stretch where like it slows down real heavy, right? Because it's like a steeper turn going north. It's like this, it's weird to describe because like you guys weren't there, but everyone has to slow down to make this turn. Like, you're not gonna make this turn and stay in your lane very easily if you're going like near the speed limit. And I went to slow down, right? And this is where problems start to arise because I know the brakes of my car pretty well. I'm assuming most people who drive know the brakes of their car pretty well. But I press down enough to slow down and keep up with traffic, okay? The car isn't slowing down very well at all. I mean, it's slowing down at this point, like it's getting there, but I realized to go like down 20 mile an hour, like I had to literally almost put the brake all the way in, right? And that never was something that I had to do with my car, and I was like, okay, that was really, really weird. And then when I like release my foot off of the brake, I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here trying to think about that. I'm like, is that how my car's always been, or am I just like tripping right now, right? It turns out I was not tripping out on anything, okay? So then it goes straight for a little bit, and then it curves back in the other direction, and there's some merging lanes that come off onto 270 there. Going around that turn, I go to hit the brake, and of course there's always like a little bit of resistance on your brakes, but I press it and it just goes straight down. Like, it literally, there's no resistance whatsoever. It just goes straight it basically goes right down. The car does not slow down at all. Nothing. As a matter of fact, since it's like a slight downward incline at this point, it's speeding up very slightly. Now keep in mind, all this traffic is slowing down to go around this turn. And I'm like, holy fuck, I'm actually like, I have no idea what to do here. Like, I'm kind of panicking. So we go around this turn and I'm literally like, probably 6 feet away from this person's bumper in front of me, right? And thankfully it levels out, right? So we start going straight and I start losing a little bit of speed. I go to press the brakes again to see if everything's cool, and of course it does the same thing, straight to the floor, does not stop the car whatsoever. So at this point I'm like, okay, this is great. So I look over to Chris and I'm like, Chris, the brakes aren't working. Keep in mind, once again, rush hour traffic, I'm surrounded by cars at this point. I mean, they're fucking everywhere. There's almost nowhere for me to go. And it's funny now, right? Like, it's really funny to reminisce on, but the way he looked back at me indicated fear for life. And by the way, nah, I was afraid for my life too. Like, I was terrified as to what was about to happen. But the way he looked was just, I don't think in almost any situation ever you can get a look out of someone like that. And then traffic, of course, just randomly slows down. And this is, at the time, past all of like the merging lanes and everything. Everyone has merged over. Like, we've gone a decent amount. I've just been kind of like free balling it out here in traffic, hoping I don't get slammed. And then traffic just slams the brakes, and I'm like, oh fuck, like I can't keep up with that, right? So instinctively, like, I swear to God, I have no idea how this happened, right? Like, literally zero idea how any of this ever occurred. Most of it is literally just like a blur, and I only remember a little bit of it, right? So I like literally hit Ultra Instinct from Dragon Ball, right? Like, my body and my mind don't think on the same plane. It just reacts to whatever needs to happen. I just swerve right. Okay, so there's 2 lanes beside me to the right that I'm trying to move across. There is nobody in the lane immediately to my right now because they've slammed on the brakes. So I barely wedge my way into that, but I literally just floss into this other lane, right? Like, right through, and people are like slamming the brakes, honking their horns and shit, and I just cut right through and onto the shoulder of this entire fucking freeway here. I have no idea how I got through these cars. I have no idea if this was planned for me to do this, like it was like a cutscene from a game or something. I don't know. But I break through like LaDainian Tomlinson in his prime, and I'm basically shooting it straight up the side of the shoulder, going like probably 50 miles an hour. No way to stop this bitch. I, for some reason, did not think about using the e-brake, the emergency brake, because I was kind of panicking, and I've never been in a situation like that, never had anything like that happen to me. So for like, I don't know, I don't even know how far I took this car on the shoulder of the road, you know, hitting those little grinders, like, shaking the car and shit. That's awesome. I love that. But eventually the car slows down because, you know, physics, and I come basically to a stop. Stranded on the 270 in rush hour. No idea how we're gonna get out of this spot. You can't open the door, by the way. Like, there's not really enough room to get out because, of course, traffic is all in this lane. You can't really get out of the car, so we're pretty much stranded in the car, and I'm just like, oh shit, like, what are we gonna do, you know? There's pretty much no chance that we make it out of this and get to this game, but two people pull up. ODOT. That is the Ohio Department of Transportation. I didn't know this. Apparently they have vehicles that go up and down 270 and all the highways around Columbus and stuff in case people break down so they can diagnose issues and possibly even fix them for you at no charge, which is amazing. Like, this concept to me was completely fucking incredible. Like, oh my god, like, you might be able to fix this for free? And the dude was super cool. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check everything out, go ahead and check all the essential, fluids of the car and stuff like that, see if the oil might be the problem, which the oil could not have been the problem because it was the fucking brakes that weren't working. I mean, unless the oil was coating the brakes and they were slipping off the car or something, I don't know. They're not even in the same category or same area of the car, so... Long story short, he has no idea what's wrong with the goddamn thing. He can't fix it, which is dope. And then Ohio Highway Patrol pulls up. And I didn't know that he pulled up, right? Dude just came up behind me. Didn't put his sirens on. Like, if he put his sirens on, I would have known, like, okay, yeah, the guy's behind me, like his lights or anything. No, he didn't put that on. So I'm just like I'm talking to Chris because there's nothing else to do in this car. Man walks up to the window, doesn't knock on it or anything, is just like staring into the car, right? And that I felt like was a really weird way for him to handle the situation, but I eventually look over to the left and he scares the absolute shit out of me. Roll the window down, he asks what's going on. I tell him that literally the car wouldn't stop and I just got off the road and he doesn't do anything because he's a cop. Can't really, what was he gonna do? Like, jack the car up, get under there and start working on it or something? No. But long story short, what ended up being wrong with the car was, I don't know, I'm not like a car expert or anything like this, so I might butcher this, but apparently after, you know, years of wear and tear and everything, the brake pads on my car had worn through. The brake pads were completely fucked. So there was pretty much no way except for the emergency brake to slow the car down or stop it whatsoever. Obviously, we did not go to that basketball game. And it sucked because I never got the opportunity to go to another one. And now Dwayne Wade is retired, so that was, it was really bad, man. It sucked. I'm not gonna lie. To this day, I still wish I would have got to go to that game, man. I mean, I'm glad that I survived that because I'm dead serious. Like, if I had gotten into an accident right there in that traffic, going like 55 miles an hour, okay, there would have been a pileup on 270. Like, there were so many cars there that, like, especially the lane I was in, if I got into a wreck, there would have been a pileup. It wouldn't have been some, oh, we can pull over on the side real quick kind of thing. It would have been like in GTA when the pedestrians and stuff don't know what they're doing and they just start running into each other, or like you blow up a car and everyone piles into them. That's how it would have been. Literally one of the scariest moments of my life. And even to this day, like, me and Chris still talk about this and laugh because, I mean, it's funny to us now. Like, it's funny, but it's scary. Like, really messed up experience to go through, but like looking back on it, it's like, that sounds like it would have come out of like a comedy movie or something, right? Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on my channel, follow me over on Twitter at @SubToOptimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates over there, surefire way to get notifications of all my newest content. Check out shopopti.com down below to get the best and most official Optimus merch on the entire internet. Also check out OpTube while you're down there as well, and thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, barely alive, and signing out.